we will wait just probably about a minute or two more to let folks get logged in here to the WebEx, and then we will get started with our program du jour. That's program of the day for those of you that don't speak French. I know. We'll get started in just a couple minutes. All right, welcome to What's New in Cognos Analytics with Watson, version 11.2.1, aka Cognos Analytics version 11.2 release 1. This is the first release of Cognos Analytics under the brand name Cognos Analytics with Watson. It's an exciting time for us out here in the world of cognosers, cognoids, nerds, whatever you want to call us, because we are now part of the Watson family, right? You'll see all over LinkedIn and in all the wonderful other places IBM is delivering content, the Cognos Analytics with Watson hashtag better together message, right? Watson, powerful AI, Cognos Analytics, powerful visualizations, and a whole lot more brought together into one beautiful, beautiful combined product. The Better Together theme doesn't just end with Cognos Analytics with Watson. Those of you that may have been watching our social channels know that LPA is now part of the Converge family of companies. We just about a week or two ago, were acquired by Converge, and we're now part of that group of 24 sister companies who are all delivering amazing technological innovation, services, products across a broad spectrum of technologies. So we are not only now here for you as we're here for you in a lot more capacity. So happy to be part of the Converge family here at LPA. Yet another hashtag better together. That'll be the theme of the day. So before we get started, just a quick overview of some of the webinars of the past, the ghosts of Christmas past, as it were. It's not the holiday season yet. Let's get through Halloween and Thanksgiving first. But all the previous What's New sessions, so maybe you're not jumping to 11.2.1 today, maybe you're looking at 11.1.7 or another previous version. We've got the What's New in those sessions available, as well as some features that drill in on reporting, dashboards, explorations, and a whole lot more, even outside of the traditional, I'd say, BI and analytics space. We've got webinars on FPM, information management, and a whole lot more. Those are all available at lpa.com/knowledge-center, as well as on our YouTube channel. So the proverbial ticket into one of these webinars is this slide right here. So I'll be quick about it, but I did want to point out there are a number of ways LPA can help your organization in terms of upgrades and migrations, right? We have upgrades still happening from version 10 into version 11. Recently, we even did an 8 to 11. So we've still got some folks that are looking to join us on the newer platform. We have a lot of opportunity there around framework model updates, data module conversions, go live support, and everything else that goes along with those upgrades and migrations. The CQM to DQM thing is very popular right now. A lot of organizations are getting ready to go to the cloud. And of course, if you're looking to go to the cloud, that DQM package migration is a key thing for you. And LPA is doing a lot with CQM to DQM migrations for many, many of our favorite clients. And we'd love to add you to that list as well if you're not already there. We do manage services. where we can run your Cognos Analytics environment on your behalf. We do reporting services where, hey, you've got a backlog, you've got 20 or 30 reports you want to hammer out, and maybe you just don't have the time in the day to get to them. Well, we have a group of Cognos certified report writing experts that are there to help you clear out that backlog or do a little burst capacity, as it were, in the reporting space. Happy to help there as well. One of the real exciting things is our health checks. So we can come in, take a look at your Cognos environment. It's especially good pre-upgrade, right? To take a look at that environment, suggest and potentially implement security updates, tuning, best practice recommendations, et cetera, to get that Cognos environment running in tip-top shape at any time, but especially nice to do it before an upgrade, right? So we have less troubleshooting and whatnot post-upgrade by making sure everything's clean and ready to go before we get started. Our training services, one of our larger areas of business. You know, unfortunately, the pandemic has made most of our training remote. Fortunate for those of you that don't like to gather in a room together, but unfortunate for people like me who love to come around the country and see all the wonderful places our clients live. We do a lot of training, everything from administration to modeling. Very popular right now are our modernization classes, so looking at dashboarding, data modules, and everything in between. So we have fully built proprietary curriculum with hands-on labs, so you're digging in the tool, doing a lot of work there with qualified, certified instructors. These are people who don't just teach, they're people that do and also teach on the side. So time with an expert, that's what we're talking about here. All right. One more little plug here. We've got a series of hands-on workshops available free to the public, to our potential clients and our current clients that we do on the third Wednesday of every month. It's a hands-on workshop. The current topic is taking Cognos to the next level using new features. That is an overview of data sets, data modules, dashboarding, and we even get into the Cognos Analytics mobile app and how that can be a game changer for your business. About 3 hours running from noon to 3 Eastern time. The sessions are limited to 20 folks or so, mainly because it is hands-on and you are actually getting training there for free from us. And you can sign up at lpa.com/events. Keep your eyes open if you've already been to the next level workshop. We've got a lot more topics coming up soon. So we'll keep your eye on that space for hands-on workshop enablement opportunities. All right, so what are we all here for? Well, we're here for better together, right? We're here for Cognos Analytics with Watson. So this slide basically gives us a general overview of all of the enhancements available in version 11.2 release 1. I'm going to go through them sort of here at a high level, just explain them briefly, and then we're going to jump in and take a look at them in practice, the vast majority of them. All right, so let's take a look here. What do we have? We have enhanced search functionality, and you're going to see what we'll do is we have all kinds of additional objects to filter, abilities to adjust the results limits, basically a lot easier to find the things you're looking for. The user interface, one of my favorite things, we're going to update names and descriptions right from the context menu. We don't have to find that little magical secret pencil at the top of the properties window to update a report name, for instance. And another great thing, the content page now part of the switcher menu. We'll see that in just a moment. Uploaded files, we do now, I think with every release, it gets easier and easier to bring in outside sources, as it were, right? That idea of the desktop publishing. Let's use Cognos to bring together sources that were previously shadow data, right, out in the silos, bring them into Cognos, merge them with our enterprise data. Now Excel uploads can handle merged cells. So if you have that, periodic merged cell in there, it used to be a problem. Now it is a much smarter upload that can handle that. Exciting stuff there. The assistant, always getting better, right? That's part of the with Watson, right? Looking now for potentially ambiguous references. So maybe your question isn't as clear as Watson would need it to be to give you an immediate answer. So detecting those ambiguous references and suggesting points of clarification. So we'll see that in just a moment. Dashboards and reporting. So most of these new features we're going to talk about are available on both sides of the tool, right? Dashboarding as well as our traditional pixel perfect reporting interface, including 3D hex bin mapping. This is really cool. Can't wait to show you that. Some performance enhancements, more properties on the visualizations, enhanced conditional formatting, and a whole lot more. For those of you that have an investment in active reports, it's gotten a little rough out there for an active report, right? As browsers have started to not support the MHT extension, the active reports became a little more difficult to consume. Not necessarily exactly with the 11.2.1 release, but a few weeks prior, still part of the fanfare is an active report viewer that you can download from the Accelerator site and consume all of your active reports directly in that viewer. So you don't need the browser anymore to yell at you when you try to open an active report. Data modules, there's some changes there. Asset properties we can see with macros within that data module. So some nice sort of, I'd say, incremental enhancements with data modules. We've got a number of reporting changes. Some of these, I just skipped past, but we're going to show them. HTML output performance improvements, copy and pasting of values, donut, Homer Simpson, the donut viz, and a whole lot of new properties. Finally, some more admin features. More admin features, more control, right? We have additional environment variables to help us with performance tuning. We have some environment variable there to control the number of data sets that you bring into memory. And this version of Cognos ships with a new JRE that restricts unsecure TLS versions. So tightened up the TLS backend there. And of course, more AI power with every release, right? We are all about bringing the Watson brain into our daily life. And what does that really mean, right? So I always like to try to say, oh, that's all, Cognos Analytics with Watson, that's really cool marketing. We love it. Watson is a well-known, exciting thing. Heck, those of us that are, I can't believe I'm saying this, old enough to remember it, when Watson played on Jeopardy. We've known Watson for a long time, right? But Cognos Analytics with Watson, this idea is about taking your BI to that next step, right? I always wonder, what does it mean to me, right? I'm sitting in your seat. I'm an analytics BI practitioner. What does this all mean? Is it all just fanfare and hoopla, or is there real actionable stuff in here? The answer is there is, right? We're talking, we still have our powerful enterprise strength, strong Cognos environment with our trusted governed data sources and our pixel perfect reports and our bursts and schedules and jobs and all of that, the real powerhouse of Cognos. But now think about it, as we've been moving into 11 and 11.2 especially, more AI, more picture of the business, but also with forecast, right? Predicting outcomes and even explaining why those outcomes may be happening, right? So, that Watson injection into Cognos really is about allowing us to do our regular BI jobs, but giving us the capability to sort of look beyond without having to leave the tool, right? It's all right there for us. We can talk to Cognos now. And get answers. That's kind of exciting stuff, right? Where, as I say, and you see me posted on social media sometimes, this is not grandma's Cognos anymore, right? This is next level stuff. One of the new release ideas, it's a pricing option, so it's not really a feature, but I did want to throw it out there. We've got two sort of releases ideas here. First is the on-demand cloud. So for some of you who want to dip your toe into the Cognos Analytics world, maybe you don't have a huge footprint, maybe you just want to do a little bit of 10, 20 users, that kind of thing. Cognos Analytics on Demand is that sort of subscription-based version, right? I think of it as Netflix of Cognos, right? I can sign up and do all my content and sort of have that month-to-month idea without having to bring in the infrastructure and everything else. Two lower cost tiers now. Standard license or standard type, which is authoring and consuming of dashboards, right? The majority of things that we can do with dashboards. That's a $10 a month license, right? The premium, that version is the one where we take all that and then we add reporting, explorations, and all that extra stuff there at $40 a month. When I say that, I feel like I'm doing one of those PBS like fun drives. For $10 a month, you get the tote bag. For $40 a month, you get the tote bag plus the CD. But it is a unique pricing option, especially if you're not looking at hundreds and thousands of users and you just want to get the power of Cognos underneath your belt. That is a great opportunity. For those of you that are on premise or currently cloud hosted, huzzah, there is a new subscription option. Analytics mobile user, that's $5 a month per person. Now, what is this all about? That is, think about your frontline staff, right? If you're a retail organization, healthcare organization, supply chain, you've got a lot of people out there on the front lines doing work, managing inventory, things like that, managing stores, and maybe they're not our traditional BI user, right? Maybe they just need to know a few things from our BI system to do their job well. Well, with Analytics Mobile, now we can put that app on their devices, their iPhones, their iPads, what have you, even not iDevices, whatever those other things are that didn't come from the Apple company. Just kidding, I'm not a huge Apple guy if you get to know me. But so the idea there is we've got the ability to consume dashboard widgets, right? So you can see all the things that you create in your beautiful dashboards. We can talk to the assistant. So, hey Watson, tell me how profitability was in February. You get a chart back. But probably most important, I think, and especially great for that frontline use case, is the alerting functionality of the mobile app, right? So in the past, sometimes we used Event Studio to trigger things, and you still can, right? But now the mobile app can also allow people to set triggers, thresholds, et cetera, and then they get their phone notification, right? Your phone vibrates or quacks or makes that little bottle pop noise, whatever your notification is. You can tell a lot about a person based on their notification, I've learned that. But whatever that notification is will happen when your threshold is achieved or broken or whatever way you've set that alert. So that analytic mobile user, there's a lot to be said about the analytic mobile app. We have some hands-on workshop information that gets real deep into it. But the idea that you can expand your footprint to that $5 a month license and give everybody the power of Cognos in their pocket is kind of an exciting thing, I think. All right, enough about the talking and the seemingly markety stuff. Let's go in there. Let's go in and talk about what is new in the tool. All right, so here we are, 11.2.1, Cognos Analytics, MIT Watson. Go ahead and see first the interface. For those of you that are on 11.2, it shouldn't necessarily shock you, right? This sort of UI has been what we're getting used to. You see up here, there used to be a toggle. Now we can just click close to remove the sort of top thing here. We've got our hamburger button as always. One of the first things to point out is content, right? So before we click content and it brings us in, we have our tabbed environments and a lot of this is configurable, but content is now part of the switcher menu. So as I go through here, I don't have to remember to go to the hamburger button and navigate to content, right? It's going to ride along with me up here in the switcher, which is kind of a nice little feature, right? Not huge, earth-shattering, monumental stuff, but that kind of sort of stepped improvement that we take feedback from people and include in the tool. As far as the search goes, you can put a term in here, search for it, and we'll see that when we do searching, you're going to have a lot more capabilities over here in this filter, right? So this filter now you see a number of additional types, jobs, shortcuts, report views, all kinds of neat things there. The ability to, again, increase the result limit and then save your search, including then all of these things that you've chosen. So now the search actually saves with everything, which is nice. So your ability to find things becomes greatly increased. I did neglect to say, please, 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 as we go through this, if you have questions, use the Q&A function. You can fire the questions into the WebEx Q&A function, and as we get towards the end, I'll take a look and try to answer as many of them as possible. Sorry for not saying that in advance. Hopefully some of you have already taken me up on it. So the search functionality, additional exciting search functionality there. So let's take a look on in at the assistant. So I am going to go ahead and click over to contents here. We're going to go to team content. We'll go to our samples and then into our models. And just this once, I'm going to use Go Sales Query. I promise I'll use a more interesting data set in a moment. But for this one, let's right click on that package and choose Create Dashboard. Nothing really new here, right? Bringing in different templates, blank, etc. The dashboard functionality, there's, again, performance improvements, additional visualizations, things that we'll see soon. But the thing I want to highlight right here is this assistant, right? We've had that for a bit, but now it's augmented with some additional brains, right? So one of those things is that ambiguous question idea. So if I say something like show margin targets, that isn't really a thing necessarily in the data. So you get your, here's information about margin, right? Tell you everything you can know about margin and what influences it, and looking for some other sources. But also down here it says, hey, also, Chris, I found some ambiguities in your references. So, select here, enter a reference, let's see some alternatives, right? That's that ambiguous idea and saying, hey, maybe what'll happen if I click margin target there? And it says, okay, here's a list of the fields as they appear in your data. We've got sales target, right? So it's trying to guide me through that process. And as I start to understand the terminology, of course, my questions get better, but Watson is guiding me. One of my favorite things is this, I'm done. It's like, I'm done. I can click it. Okay, done. The back and forth with Cognos is always fun with me. I've done, everyone has tried asking Siri for a date. Okay, maybe it was just me. But, talking back to a machine is always fun. I love, hey, you're done now. Cool. All right, so let's, now I'm gonna jump over to the reporting interface here rather than stay in dashboarding. But again, a lot of the functionality that I'm gonna be showing in reporting is also available in dashboarding, right? I just tend to be a little bit of an old man shaking my fist at the sky. I love traditional reporting, no shame there. So let's go ahead and launch new report. Okay. I'm gonna pick a theme, feeling a little Batman-y today, so I'm gonna pick this dark blue theme because I am sullen and I've seen some things, so I'm gonna stick with the dark theme. I'll go with blank. And then, of course, we will pick our data source. For the remainder here, I'm going to use a data set that is available for us in samples data, and that is the customer analysis data module. Of course, we can see it's based on a CSV, but we don't need to worry about that. It's a data module. And it's a data module that basically, if you haven't played with customer analysis, auto insurance company, primarily Western United States, that's the data we're looking at here. All right. So let's, you can click, of course, the quick launch here to, this replaces my favorite thing, the wheel of fun, right? The little plus in the middle. We'll see the wheel of fun later, but this initial blank will give you, sort of a little more of a, hey, pick one of these widget types. I'm actually going to drag from the toolbox rather than choose this. I'm going to bring that in because I happen to like, I've come to like guided report layout. I know. Those of us that have been around a while, guided report layout can be a little bit much at first. But once you kind of understand what's going on with it, I think you'll find that it could be helpful, right? So I'm going to bring my visualization over, let guided report layout tell me, yeah, top, middle. And then let's go ahead and create a delicious donut chart. donut, right? Back to my source, let's populate that with number of policies into the size zone and then location type into the segments. Okay, at that point, I can pivot over to page preview and we see a delicious donut. Actually, I don't like my donuts to have blue on them, but that's just a personal preference. This delicious donut can be customized even further though. What I'd like to do is turn my donut into an eaten donut. As you can tell by looking at the video, I'm a big fan of that. One of the areas over here in the properties is the start angle and the end angle. So let's play with this. Let's do a start angle of -90. You can use a negative or positive integer. At that point, it goes boop, starts at the 90. And let's end it at +90. And what we see here is we've got a nice little arch, right? Interesting little visualization, right? We can increase that border width to make it look a little funkier, and a number of other properties. One of the things here, we've got this inner label, right? So let's bring the inner label forward. So all that white, number of policies, inner label value color. Let's make that white as well. Now, I knew that was there. That was one thing that picking the dark theme, those guys were hidden. That's one of the cooler parts about the donut is you'll see this centerpiece. I did have to change the font color because of the dark theme, but they're there, right? You've got all the control over what that inner label looks like, the fonts and all that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and just do a couple more things. Why don't we display the percentage? Let's put a label on the outside, and we're going to have to make that one white too. Probably shouldn't have picked a template. The Batman theme was a bad idea. Just kidding. We'll do value and both. So show me the label, and that is, sort of building out more and more here with our friendly neighborhood donut chart. One of the new features, not one that you're going to say, well, now I'm done. This is it. Cognos Analytics, you are my favorite thing of all time. But kind of a neat idea is this swatch symbol shape. It's a lot of alliteration. Up here, we've had little circles all along. Now we have options. We can make a donut for my donut chart, right? A little consistency there with our sweet treats. You can make a star. That's fun. Let's leave that. Let's go with the star. Just fun additional features. People have been asking for the ability to change that. So here it is. One of the other things is our bullet chart. So the bullet chart, yet another visualization that I'll bring onto the page. Bring the bullet over. Now this has always been historically a sort of horizontal conceit, right? The bullet chart horizontal idea. Now we have a transpose button that allows us to flip it vertically, which can be helpful. I've actually, I have a client who really wanted this, so it's kind of exciting to see it. Some of you that aren't huge bullet fans, again, bear with me, but this is kind of an exciting thing. So let's go ahead and bring over a measure. What measure do I want? Let's do premiums over claim. Drop that into the max range of my bullets. Then we can bring in total claim amount to my actual. At that point, my bullet chart can draw, right? I've achieved my asterisk, letting me know that it'll render. One thing I'm going to do here is, first of all, again, bring my labels forward. So that was white and white. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and make that little update there. And I'm also gonna set the average. Make this aggregate an average, so they're a little more meaningful. So boom, average there on premiums over claim, and boom, average on my total claim amount. So now I'm looking at sort of the average there. Let's throw a target on there. or a target if you're feeling fancy. To do so, I'm going to go into my query, do a little query calculation, and let's just call it target premium over claim, and I'll add in my premium over claim, and then we'll just multiply it by 1.5. And you'll say, Chris, does that make any business sense at all? I'll say no, but it's a demo. Give me the benefit of the doubt. We'll change the average to, so the aggregation to average, making that a beautiful measure. Go back to our main page, and then get our drop zone here for target from our query, bring target POC into the target drop zone, and we'll see I've built out a nice little bullet chart. Now, where's the fun coming? The fun comes with the transpose button, right? So right here, the option, we love our little toggles, right? That's so much better than the yes, no in days of yore, right? So pivot, there you go. We've got a transposed bullet chart. Yeah, pretty cool. Maybe a lot of bullet chart for that punchline, but kind of nice functionality. Like I said, I've been asked for it before, so you never know, right? So let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to rename this page because we're going to have a multi-page report here. I'm going to call this page customer demographics. All right, and then let's add a new page, and we will call it customer location, because I want to show you the exciting new mapping functionality. So let's go over to customer location, put a visualization on the page. This time it's going to be a map, and our map is there. The exciting new features are going to be the 3D-ness, right? The 3D-ness and the hex bins, the ability to put sort of hex columns that will extrude from the map, showing us a lot more information, especially when we have a dense data set, right? So let's build this out. We will put country and state into the locations. And whoop, here we are, we're talking about the West Coast. We will put number of policies into the location color. And again, this is mapping as we're used to it. Still way cool, right? We love mapping. But let's add one more thing. Now we have number of policies. We can put it into this drop zone called extrusion height, which if you can see, now we're going to pivot in a second, but you can see it sort of then adds a 3D-ness here. Even when we're looking down on top, you can see with a little bit of shadow. And we'll play with this pitch and bearing button in just a moment. Now let's go to the next layer, points layer this time, and we can bring ourselves in country and state once more into the locations. Our point size can be blank in this case, but we're going to do number of open complaints into the point color. All right. Now that we've done that, we see there's a point, and it sort of I'm superimposing now my number of complaints over my number of policies. Since it's complaints, why don't we make it red, right? Because complaints are sadly angry. So for our point layer, the continuous color here, we will make it a red sequential. And then there, that just got a little angrier, right? And then, of course, the whole real point of this is going to be down here, the points layer type. Now, we could do heat, cluster, but we also have hex bin. And now that at first you're going to say, well, Keaton, that's not the coolest thing in the world. What are we doing here? Well, let's go ahead and see what this looks like in 3 dimensions. To my next page. We've got our map. Let's click this pitch and bearing and then rotate and zoom, right? So this is where now, and by the way, as a report author, I can pre-pitch and bear it, right? So this can be the way it's going to display when they run the reports. But again, the user can control it as well because we have pitch and bearing out front, as well as all the Zoom tools we've had before. So now this map, right, is telling us a great story. It's giving us, it's saying, hey, we have a ton of customers with policies in California and very, very few complaints. But what the heck is going on in Nevada? Virtually few policies in the grand scheme of things, but a whole lot of complaints. So let's focus there, figure out why they don't like us in Vegas, and target some love to Nevada, right? So telling a very clear, very concise story against a pretty packed data set, as it were, right? So we will close there, and like I said, we can pitch and bear here in author mode, so that'll be as a default as well. All right. So what is another new feature, you ask? This one is one that I personally love. We're going to create a page called Customer Detail. Okay. And Customer Detail will be a list report that will drop on the page. And let's populate that with detail-y type stuff. So country, state. We'll put in a little demo information. How about education? Location type, why not? Drop that in there. And then some numbers. How about total claim amount, customer lifetime value? Drop those in there. Do a little group, because it's always fun to do that. Put some totals on there. We know default summary. And we can see, I'm just going to remove one of these summary levels. We can see a pretty nice sort of detailed report. You know, we got data formatting. We can do all the stuff we used to do before. So why am I building a list? Well, it's always nice to build lists. But the reason I'm building a list is because this is a report against a data module. And one of the rules that used to drive this guy right here nuts was that if you had a data module as a source for a report, you couldn't use the select and search prompt. I love the select and search prompt because when you sit on top of a large set of data, like customer ID, for instance, you have no idea what to pick, right? Too many things for a drop down. How do I get, you know, certain customers selected? So the select and search prompt is the way to go, right? So let's build this out, traditional prompty wizard. What do I want to filter? Heck, let's filter it all. See, bad. I didn't do query naming. I'll name this one though, since I don't want you guys to yell at me. So we'll call this prompt customer ID. Always nice to name our prompt queries so we know which ones are those at least. And now check it out. When we run in HTML mode, we can now use our select and search prompt. I don't know what these customer IDs are. Let's type A, search for it. All right, there's all my customer IDs that start with A. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's a smart key. They're my type A customers, my favorite customers. Bop them over to the list, click finish. Now my report's going to generate. My type A's are 940 policies, page down. There's where they live. And here's the detail, right? So again, little incremental feature add, but huge to me and maybe huge to you, right? Select and search is a great prompt. And that was really holding me back from using data models in the case of a lot of reports. So now I don't have that limitation because I can use this prompt on any of my metadata sources now, right? All right, what else? Okay, optimized tab rendering. I don't know if you have a lot of these, but I know a number of folks enjoy viewing pages as tabs. So we go to that top level, we say, let's make these pages tabs. And now there's a property here called optimized tab rendering. As you can see down here, it says optimized rendering is faster, but hey, you know, if you're using conditional pages or reports that have continuous page numbers, probably not so great, but optimized tabs are going to make it so that the individual tab runs faster and loads in a different manner than if I just left it as no, right? So with that optimized tab rendering, we're going to run this in HTML once more. I do have to get through my prompt. Do the same thing I did before, my A's. Click on finish. And now, of course, you see the pages as tabs, right? But with the optimized tab rendering, we get a lot faster performance because Cognos is handling that render when I want it, not necessarily all at the same time, right? And I can run pages individually now too, which is kind of a cool thing. So there is a lot to say for our friendly neighborhood tabs. How about selecting data? In the past, with the interactive viewer here, if I tried to select data, I would end up with a not something I could do, right? In the old viewer, yes, I could select all the data I wanted, but in the new interactive viewer, you tried to select, it wouldn't let you pull things out of Cognos. So now we have the ability to say, hey, let's go grab some numbers. And up here in the toolbar is this little copy object. And you see I can copy the raw value. And then should I want to, paste it, right? So that gives me the ability to take out of the interactive viewer. Now, Control-C, Control-V, my favorite shortcuts of all, don't work with this. You do need to use the button. Why is that? So it's configurable, right? Some of us, especially more governance-forward organizations, maybe we don't want people copying data out of the screen and putting it into other things. So you can configure it so that that button isn't available, hence why it's a button and the keyboard shortcut doesn't work. And it's all about security. All right. Let's see. Oh, the active report viewer. Didn't show you that. Let's look there. So the active report viewer, when I have an active report, we can now bring it down. It's an MHT. And you see, I've actually already done the open with and associated this MHT extension with the active report viewer. So now when we have an active report, we fire it off and up is going to pop our active report viewer that allows us to consume this right in this window without needing browser, and the restrictions that have come with that. So you've got a local little install, tiny little guy there, but available now to open your MHT files so you can consume them locally, leveraging Chromium technology for speed and excitement. Okay, so let me just pop back here to my slides and see if I missed anything I wanted to show you. So select and search with data modules, sure. There's my donut and my bullet. Other sort of new visualization properties, a lot in terms of color on axes, value label color controlling. So those of you in brand focused organizations, yes, we can control so much more in terms of color. Some little love for SVGs, right? If you like schematics, the old D3 type built out special things like airplane seat maps, for instance. You got additional control of the SVGs. A lot of good stuff in the visualization. Ever upward here. The performance, HTML values, 3D hex bin, pitch and bearing, yes indeed, the active report viewer. Last but not least here, before we turn it over to some questions and I see what I can show you, we have some administration things. That's the technical term, administration things. You've got here, of course, always with a release, list of supported data elements, data sources, you know, our snowflakes. We've got Denodo and things now. There's all kinds of data sources that you can connect to. That's generally not a problem, but you can see the support list from the link there. There is a new variable called TCM alloc comp threshold Not sure what that stands for. Anyone from IBM can tell me what TCM-alloc is. But basically what that is if we go into our environment variables.ini file, put in this fun little guy equals an integer. Default is 50. You can play with that. Currently in the environment I'm demoing in, we've got it set to 100. And essentially what that does is gives us some additional performance tuning of the reports. A little memory cost. So if you're really memory focused, maybe you want to think about that integer. But at the cost of a tiny bit of memory, you've got yourself additional performance. So that's a cool thing. The compute service has a property for query execution in terms of the number of data sets that you can limit. So you can say how many data sets you bring into memory. So again, if you're memory conscious, you can govern that now with a property. And of course, I mentioned the JRE version. So now it ships, the product ships with 806.30 JRE, which basically restricts all unsecure versions of TLS, which will make your security team happy. Last but not least, now Event Studio is supported in Chrome, Edge Chromium, so you're not just tethered to the single browser anymore. So for Event Studio folks, that should be hopefully some good news. All right, so about 46 minutes in, I took that a little fast, I think, but who's ever complained about getting some time back in their day? So what we're going to do is we're going to pop over here. We'll look at some Q&A. If anyone is heading out, thank you for joining, but I'm going to see if we've got some questions I can answer. Okay, so one of the questions out there has to deal with the value in that threshold. Kieran, you got me. What does that integer mean? If I had to guess, which I am doing, so let's go with that. I'll get back to you once I get an answer. Hot off the presses, right? If I had to guess, we're talking about a percentage of memory that we're allocating, right? The higher the number, the larger the memory cost. Theoretically, the larger increase in report performance. But you'll see your Java memory consumption perhaps grow a bit. That is what I've experienced in playing with it, but I will get you after the fact an actual educated answer rather than one where I'm just making a hypothesis. Very, very specific question, but thank you for that. How has the addition of Watson improved the prediction experience? So this is an interesting question, and thank you for that. We've had Watson in the tool, right? It's been there for a while. I'd made a LinkedIn post where I said, hey, we're excited to be part of the Watson family, but Watson's sort of been sneaking in the side door for some time now, right? We know that there's machine learning in terms of visualization preferences. We've had the assistant talking to us now for a couple of versions. So there's been a lot of functionality of the Watson code set, I'd say, in Cognos for some time. How has this Cognos Analytics with Watson improved that prediction experience? I'd say primarily it's that ambiguous question detection. So if you're asking about things in the future, it will, come out and help me refine that question and make my question a little better. There's also, additional sort of ideas behind that line chart forecasting. The algorithms there are all Watson driven. There's like 14 different algorithms behind that line chart forecasting, and potentially growing from there. But I'll say this, it is a interesting, the with Watson, doesn't necessarily come with all of a sudden we've got all of the power of the full Watson tool set, right? All the other Watson things that our friends over in Advanced Analytics are working with. It is still the Watson in Cognos pretty much that we know and love. We're increasing the amount of Watson, so it's getting better and better each time. But let's not be completely deceived. It isn't like all of a sudden the Watson tool set is no longer relevant. This is just bringing more and more Watson in as we go. So, I think more to come there, but there's a lot more than there was before, is the punchline there. 11.2 can write to AWS S3. Does IBM have any plans to add AWS 3 as a data source? Yeah, so, we have a lot of exciting data sources available to us. So we go into our data server connections, we add a new one, and we definitely have a bunch of them. As far as specifically AWS S3 as a data source, I don't know that I can speak to plans that IBM has. We've seen a number of thoughts, and some of those thoughts, wink, wink, include additional data sources. So this list grows with every release. You're right about, writing to S3 in terms of, the cloud location and configuration. But as a data source, can't necessarily commit to that at this point in time. What else? Anything else we want to talk about? I'll take a look at the Q&A. If there's anything you want to get in there, I'm happy to take it. Otherwise, I really, really appreciate you joining us here today. Keep going on the Q&A, right? If you have any questions, you have my email address here, chris.keaton@lpa.com. I am happy to answer anything with certainly more certainty when I'm not thinking about it in front of the webcam. But I will get you any answers you may need. We are happy to help. There are a million things we can do together to take Cognos Analytics to that next level. And we're taking it now to that next level with Watson. And I am happy to be part of this journey, and I hope you are too. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to speak with you soon. Have a wonderful day.